Hello, everyone, and welcome to lesson 3 of my 3D modeling for 3D printing course. And today we are just going to kind of practice what we preach. So, last time for homework, I told you to create an object as, as good as you can without spending too much time on it. And today we're going to do pretty much what I was talking about. And to do that, we're going to make Thor's hammer Mjolnir. But it's kind of hard to make things out of like your memory. So we're going to do a quick Google search and see what images come up. Okay, so after doing a quick Google search, you see Mjolnir reference image. We get a bunch of pictures of Mjolnir, but we're going to click on this first one because that one looks kind of like what we want. And I'm not sure of the legality of just taking these pictures from like Google. But as long as you're just using it as a reference and not just blatantly copying it, it should be fine. In fact, this guy, Daniel H. Watergarden, said he made this because he couldn't find a good reference image, so he made it. And he said it's a good starting point for those who want to make it. So he kind of made this image for the purpose of other people using it. So he probably would be okay with you using this image, which is what we're going to do. So you can right click and then save image as whatever and then save it onto your file. Okay? And then all you have to do is just click this and drag it to add it to our Blender. But when you do that, it adds it in the angle of where you are looking. So right now, like I was like this, so it's like flat in this. And that doesn't really help us. And what you can do is press N to bring this up. Go to item. And then just kind of like get rid of all the rotations. Okay, now it's just like flat. Okay. So we're going to rotate this 90 degrees. And then maybe scale it up a little bit. And this picture is kind of like too bright. So what we can do is go here. This is like the picture modification area. And then we're going to just lower the opacity by that much. Okay, and then we're going to move this back so it's kind of like behind our object. And then what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this object. And then rotate it on the Z by 90 so that this is our front view and our side view has this. So it's kind of like that. Okay? So now we're going to manipulate this cube to look like the flat piece of the hammer of Mjolnir. And for that, I'm just going to do the X-ray real quick and move this like so, scale it like that a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to go to side view and we're going to scale it on the, is it Y? Yep, on the Y. Like this, and then move it ever so slightly like that. Okay. Okay. Let's get out of X-ray for a sec. We're going to edit mode now. We are actually going to select the corners, and then we're going to bevel it. So Control B, and we're going to bevel it like so, maybe. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And then now we're going to go to the face select this face. And we're going to be a little more calculated with it. We're not just going to eyeball it. So if we extrude it by 1, That's what the value of 1 is. We don't want that because that's a little too much. And we're gonna extrude it by a value of, whoop, didn't extrude. Okay, extrude it by a value of 0.3. I think 0.3 is pretty close. So we're gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna move this back a little. Because when you're looking at it like this, it doesn't matter how far back it is. Right? Oop. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to do the same thing on this side. E.3. Okay, and then we're going to scale both of these by maybe 0.8. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, and remember, we're just trying to get this to be good enough. We're not gonna add like these little scribbly lines. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, because that's just too fine a detail, and it will probably not even show up. Okay, so we're gonna leave the main hammer part of it like this. So let's add a cylinder. Go to front view. And then we're just gonna scale this until it's about the handle size. It's a little off, but okay. And then we're just gonna scale this up to be about that. And then we're just gonna go into X-ray mode real quick to kind of just make some loop cuts. So we gotta go into edit mode. Loop cut. Let's do the top first. So we're just gonna do this. We're gonna go into vertex select. And because we're in edit mode, remember, when we select this, it's gonna select everything around it. But if we weren't in X-ray mode, it would only select the ones that are showing, like that. Okay, so in X-ray mode, that's one of the advantages, that you can select everything through the object. Okay, so we're just gonna move this up here, maybe scale that up a little bit. We're gonna extrude and then scale that down a little bit. Yeah. Let's do the same thing here. And you know what? We're just gonna extrude this all the way up here. Scale it up. Extrude it a little more and then scale it. Like so. Let's take a look at that real quick. I know this kind of looks weird, but when you combine these objects, this little beaker will not be there. So try to think like that. And I think that looks fine. But the handle looks a little too plain, right? So we're just gonna add a little detail, not too much, because remember, when we're like making these for miniatures, it's so tiny that the detail is like very hard to see. But for this, we're just gonna add a bunch of loop cuts. You know what? I'm gonna preemptively go into edge select, and then I don't. That's fine. And then we're gonna right click to place it where it was, and we're gonna bevel this. Just yeah, and then here we're gonna Alt E, because if we regular E, then it doesn't do what we want it to do. So if we Alt E, it comes up with these like extrude commands, and we're gonna extrude face along normals so that it pops it out from where it is. And we're just gonna do maybe like that much. Okay. So as you can see, it popped it out from where it was, and it wasn't like moving all crazy. All right. And then we're just gonna scale this on the Z a little bit, but this is not what we want. Right now it's scaling to the center point. So to fix that, we're gonna click on this, and then we're gonna click on individual origins so that they will scale on their own origins, and then it'll be more like this. No, that's a little too. I'm just gonna scale it down a little bit so we get like a slight raise, not too much. And yeah, I think I like that better. I don't like this. I want this to be a little extra, a little bigger, like a little separation. So we're just going to loop cut here. Let's go into X-ray mode. Face select. Now we're just gonna scale this up a little. And now I'm kind of going away from the reference image, but that's okay because the reference image is just a reference and we're doing what we think is good for us, okay? So yeah, I think this looks pretty good. So now we are going to delete this because we don't need it anymore. And then I think I am going to print this out just to show you like kind of like what our end goal is, right? Like we want a 3D model to 3D print things. We just did this in however many minutes. And yeah. Now there are a couple of things we need to do. Like we need to join these two separate objects. And for that, we're going to use this thing called bool tool. And we're just going to union it, okay? And then now it's just one solid object. But we'll talk about the bool tool later. That will be in a later lesson. And I'll talk all about combining objects like this. So yeah, right now I am going to import a file that I already have. So if you see my Dragon Knight, it's just like a model that I made. And it has like separate parts where I can like add different weapons. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do, okay? Okay, so here is my, like the Dragon Knight arm that I have. And it is a good practice to have, like these assets saved in your file so you can like kind of like change things up. And so yeah, get in the habit of doing that. And as you can see, the hammer is tiny. It's a tiny Mjolnir. And we will get to how to scale things for 3D like printing so that what you print is exactly the size you want it to be in another lesson, okay? That's for later. But for now, we know this is the right size, so we just need to fit this to this arm, and we'll be good. Let's see. Kind of just fitting it on there. I think that looks fine. Okay, so we are going to save this and export it as an STL. And then we're going to have to support it and then print it and then do all that stuff. But I'm not going to bore you with that. So here is the finished result. Okay, then there it is. I printed it out, did a quick and dirty paint job. I'm not the best painter in the world, but I think any paint is better than no paint. And yeah, there it is. And I think that will do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Um, and you know what? No homework today. Just relax and take it easy. All right. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye now.